Alright, I have the next tray laid out here. I'm getting close to the point to do a glue up. Now, in a perfect world, I should have pre-sanded this face, or maybe even pre-finished it before I cut the dovetails. That would have been probably the best, to sand and finish and then cut the dovetails, but I didn't do that, so I'm going to apply a piece of tape very carefully across like so, and that will cover up the important part of the dovetail joint here to prevent me from removing material when I sand. Okay, at this stage my pieces now have been sanded on the inside. They're ready to go, except I should do one last step. It's always good to do a dry fit before you apply glue and find out that things don't fit. So I will take away this tape from where I sanded and fit the parts together. I'm really impressed on how nice of a job that Leigh D4R Pro has done making these dovetails. Of course, a sharp chisel and a good saw can do the same thing, but this was fast. Well, here's a new tool I picked up. It's called the fist mallet. It does a great job of not marring the surface, and it was really inexpensive. During the dry fit, I'm checking that my joinery is nice and tight and that the bottom handle fits as it should, and just overall checking that things look right. Alright, now I will assemble the parts. Once assembled, I will carefully line each piece with a piece of tape on the inside corner. And the reason for that is these parts are not finished. In a perfect world, I should have had a finish already applied, but I have not done that. So I need to be careful to keep the glue off the areas where the finish will go. It'll be very difficult later on to sand into a sharp corner to remove a glue line. So a little bit of prevention will go a long way. So I'm keeping the clamps on this face slightly inboard of the dovetail. That way, if the dovetail wants to protrude out by a thousandth of an inch, it can do so, and I can really pull that joint together tight. And these clamps can make a lot of, can really exert a lot of clamping force, and there's no need to go crazy with it. I don't want to distort my box. Just enough to pull together. At first glance, it could appear that this is a huge waste of time to, clamp the entire tray together just to take it apart one more time, when I could have avoided this step by having pre-finished my parts. But in reality, it's probably a smart idea. As simple as this looks, it's just, essentially a little box. Getting the clamp placement in the correct spot and, kind of problem solving that now is needed, because once that glue comes out of the bottle and is applied to the joint, that clock begins to run, and the stress level, of course, begins to build as you realize that you only have a minute or 2 minutes left before those parts are stuck together. Alright, I'm back. At this stage I have all 4 corners taped up. It's not perfect, but it'll make a difference with the cleanup. There's a little bit at the bottom I couldn't quite get to, but that's easy enough to deal with a wet paper rag during the glue up. Alright, let's take it apart now and begin gluing up. I have to say, if you haven't tried these tight bond brushes for gluing, give it a shot. I was kind of apprehensive to buy them. They were a little expensive for a piece of plastic, but they're reusable. You wash them each time, or otherwise let the glue dry and flick it off. I use hot water and wash it away, but it applies glue very evenly, and I find I have better joints. During a glue up like this, I have to be a little bit quick. I can't be wondering how things go together when once the glue's applied. I have to know what is what and just get down to business quick. Otherwise the glue will begin to set up and I'll have problems. I'm not sure if it shows up on camera or not, but these little fingers on this brush are rubber, and they kind of act like a trowel. The glue is almost in a way metered out to the right amount. But I wouldn't have bought it, but where I bought my glue from, I was just a few dollars short of having free shipping. So I saw this brush for sale and thought, well, rather than pay for shipping and get nothing out of it, I will try the brush out, and I'm so glad I did. So if you see one, pick one up, give it a try. I think you'll like it. And I'm being mindful, I have a good face and a bad face on this veneered plywood here, to make sure that I have the up face up. We're on the home stretch here now. Get some glue on these last dovetails, and then I will quickly put it together, get it into clamps, and I want to right away, as soon as I can, check my diagonals and make sure that this box is turning out square. Now I'm off camera here, but I'm applying more glue to the last piece here. Good, that's together. Alright, now it's time to clamp it up. And again, I'm just coming inboard of the dovetail because I know my joint will stick through a sheet of paper or less, and I want to allow it to pull together tight. Nice thing about stacking up these bessies is it allows me to have a cross member here to pull this other clamp up to and keep it quickly referenced that it's clamping evenly. It's not angled one way or the other. much time here. They look like they're pretty tight to me. Not very tight. That's good. Take off my dirty glove, get the tape, and check my diagonals to make sure that my box is square. If the numbers match up, then it's square. Looking at this tape, I would say I'm off by maybe 0.2 millimeter. That's not very much. Let's see. Alright, this white here is a little bit long, and I mean just barely. So I'll just take a long clamp and pull the opposing diagonal to square it up. And getting a clamp in here can be tricky. I think I might have it. That's it right there. It's good. Alright, time to clean up my joints here, wipe off the squeeze out, and come back in a few hours to unclamp it. Alright, now you can see my joints here. They're clean and clear of glue. It's just a little wet down here from the water, but that will dry up, and that's easy to give a light sand to fix any raised grain that will have occurred from the wet rag. Alright, one last thing before I walk away, and that's to remove the tape before it gets stuck onto the wood. And then go through with our wet rag one last time to make sure that there's not any residue of glue on the edges of where the tape was. On this project, I'll be using Blum undermount drawer slides. Undermount drawer slides require that a small section at the rear of the drawer is removed to allow the drawer slide to pass through to the rear of the cabinet. The first step here is to mark out their locations, and then next take a handsaw to cut away down to the bottom of the drawer, and lastly use a chisel to remove the waste. Well, it's always great to make a small hole in the correct spot instead of a large hole in the wrong spot. Luckily for me, I was in the right area, so I continued to drill and then moved to the other side to repeat the process. I should probably say I'm using Blum's drilling template guide, and it's really handy. I mean, not just for this operation, but also to mount the quick release triggers. You need to have this drilling jig also. I can't really imagine mounting up this hardware and marking out each hole with a tape measure. I think that would leave way too much room for error, so it's well worth to have this jig if you're doing a bunch of boxes.